I made a video earlier about seeing a Bravo video. I have not seen anything from Bravo in a long time. And it popped up on my news feed on Instagram. And of course, I checked out a few videos and it just brought everything back to me. And this is what happens with Spirit. They send me things on a regular basis. Every day I get things. And a lot of it I have not done anything with. A lot of the downloads, the psychic things that I get sent to me digitally about people, women through history that were writers and were change makers that didn't get credit, that were murdered for their brains, for their psychic skills, for their knowledge that we have now that we can do something with, but they weren't able to because society mobbed them and murdered them and took away their rights. So I get a lot of things. So I have a lot to share that I have not been sharing. And it's all come to me very fast in just like 2 years. But when I first started having this spiritual awakening, but I didn't know what was happening, all I was doing was being a housewife, trying to be a better woman, a better human, a better wife, a better daughter, friend, sister, mother, or, aunt. And I was just trying to feel better. I was just trying to be happy and not like want to be not feel suicidal, because I literally was like, I was ready to just end my life. And so I had the spiritual awakening, my heart opening for self-love, for finally giving myself some kind of a break and some compassion. So when that happened, my whole world opened up. My whole life changed. But how it started, what things that I started noticing was I was just being a housewife. I had stopped working years before, so that I could take care of my husband and I better. I cooked a lot, homemaking and stuff like that. And so I was just like doing things around the house. I was cleaning on the deck, or I was doing dishes, and all of a sudden, or even in bed, I was like in bed, and all of a sudden I'd have like an idea come to me, like 3 words, or I'd have a conversation with a woman about, her body issues or weight loss or dieting. And then she'd leave, and I just come up with like something would come to me, and I just go start writing, and it just turned into pages and pages and pages and pages, where I went years, my whole life with I didn't have writer's block because I wasn't trying to write. I wasn't trying to be a writer. I wasn't trying to put anything out to the world. I never considered myself a writer. I didn't consider myself a poet. Definitely not a music writer or lyrics writer, let alone having the music come to my head. So all of these things I did not anticipate, but I was just a housewife doing housework, and these things started coming out to me. Well, while I was a bored housewife, I had spent pretty much almost all my free time, and I was alone a lot. My husband was a workaholic, and that last year it got better though, because I had eased up. So he actually stopped working as much, and he was home more. It was really, really great. And I realize now that I had changed my life, by changing myself. And anyway, so I had spent lots of time watching TV. Like, I didn't have children, didn't have a job, didn't go to church anymore because I didn't do that anymore. So I really didn't see a lot of people, especially when I was going through depression. Before that spirit awakening, before that, I had just spent so much time on the couch, so much time in bed, watching Bravo, watching Housewives, I loved Vanderpump Rules, which I'm sure I still would find these things entertaining. So yeah, I loved, what was that called? Southern Charm. Yeah, and a lot of the housewife shows. But towards the end, like as you get closer in your spiritual awakening and you get further and further away from the drama and I never thought it was right. It wasn't like I ever agreed with it, the way people treated each other. But I found less and less enjoyment out of it, especially some of them that were super contrived and super mean girl and bullyish. Really got really old quick. And I won't say which ones they were, but I was like, okay, I got to stop watching this because this is really like a waste of my life, force energy to even watch this. So, it's funny though, because I was still watching those shows and I would notice how the women were just spending hours. Some of them, like, it's like that's all they did. Now, granted, I realize now that, I mean, they knew they were filming. So it's not like they're going to do this when they're not filming. So I get it. And I don't think there's something wrong with getting your hair done, your makeup done, and doing all that. But it just came to me of how much of people's lives are spent just trying to look a certain way for other humans, trying to look a certain way so people won't make fun of you. And if you're on the big screen, if you're on TV, if you're on reality shows, people are brutal. It's like they dehumanize you. Someone said that today, like, how are we able to hurt each other? Where does war begin? It begins, somebody said, with the dehumanization of others, of other humans. And we see this all the time. And so it's like people think, oh, well, you're on a TV show, so we should be able to do whatever we want to you for better ratings. We should be able to say anything. And yes, you're on a reality show, but my gosh, like, people are so vicious. And you can see the bullying. You see the drama. You see how people put down other people's looks. Like, who are you? Like, how old are you? Are you a toddler? Or not a toddler even? Are you a kid in elementary school? And even kids in elementary school, where do they get these things from? They're getting it from you, from the adults, from the moms, and hearing them gossiping about each other. They get it from the other girl that moms at lunch or church or whatever, their groups are gossiping, or the aunts and uncles and grandmas and moms and, are all gossiping about people's looks, or about themselves. Like, my family was like, oh, we have fat thighs and we have fat knees. And that was ingrained into me. And so I was a little tiny stick figure girl. I was thin and looking at my legs and knees until I was in my mid 40s, thinking that they were awful, that I couldn't show them. I had to have them covered up to my, have my knees covered. I would never wear the things I wear now, because not that long ago, just like a year or two ago, I wouldn't have worn anything like I would wear now and show my knees, show my thighs in a bathing suit. The body hate and the body dysmorphia is so real. And the way these shows are, these reality shows, like, if everybody was loving themselves and loving each other and kind, it would be a whole different kind of a show. And that's the kind of show I'd like to see. I have a lot of ideas for really great shows that we could have, but they're not going to involve bullying. They're not going to involve the drama and the bully, the name calling and the viciousness, the backstabbing and the gossiping. Like, if you look at that, just think about it. It's like you're just being, you're basically little kids on the playground being mean to each other, but you're grown adults. You're grown ass adults in adult bodies, and you are still acting like a little bratty kid on the playground. That's what it is. And you're getting paid for it, because that's what pays. That's what people want to see. It's just like the gladiator, like they want to see the blood. They want to see you get killed. They want to see you get hurt. They want to see the violence. Like, that is what humanity is like. That's this 3D reality of what humans want. They want to see the viciousness. They want to see the fighting. They want to see the blood. That's sick. And it's time to change. Okay? Like, think. Be aware of you and what you want and what you like and what the people around you want and what they like. Is that right? Is that right? If everyone switched over to what God wants, what the universe is pushing us to, a new earth, these shows would not exist. There would be no ratings. If nobody wanted this violence and wanted this bullying and this hatred and mean girl and all of that, It's disgusting. I understand that a lot of it is entertaining, and I totally agree, but not the hatred, not the mean girl stuff. That is ugly. That makes you ugly.